Buddy, call the meeting to order. Again, welcome everyone out in Zoom land and whoever. Don't know where that's coming from, but very annoying. Anyway, we have a lot to cover tonight, so let's get a move on. Michael, roll call.
Mayor Morandi,
Here.
Trustee Early,
Yes.
Trustee Miller,
Here.
Trustee Murphy,
Here.
Trustee Veloto.
Here.
Yeah. Okay. First up on the agenda is the financial highlights. Is Michelle here, or just want to read these?
No, I don't think she's coming.
Okay.
Not on the list.
I'll rattle these off. Revenue for a municipal lot is appropriate for tourist season as compared to last year. Fines and fees are beginning to increase again, but have not returned to pre-pandemic levels yet. I did not encounter any additional potential losses of revenue or large increases in expenses for the past month. New York State grants are also beginning to be released, but are still very limited. New York State Consolidated Grants application, which should have been released in the spring, early summer, has not yet been opened. This grant covers funding for the various New York State departments. New York State mini bid has been submitted and revised for the garbage truck chassis, but results have not yet been received. And fire department has submitted their proposed budget for 2021 with a request for a 2% increase for the municipal contribution, which amounts to $2,400.35 more than last year. We'll be presenting that to the town board tomorrow night. Let's see, monthly reports. Is that where we're at? No, sorry. Report from police department. Larry,
Yep.
how are you?
Good. How's it going? For the month of September, we had a total number of calls for service, 57. We have a total number for the year of 515. We had moving violations at 45. We had parking tickets at 227. Total number of tickets for last month were 272, and for the year it was 763. We had no arrests.
Larry, the 272 is a very high number, probably 4 times what's average. What do you attribute that increased number to?
People due to COVID that didn't get out of their house. I would do that, as every weekend is becoming more and more popular come Cold Spring. I also would think that not having the C Street coming in, that more people were coming up from the city than normally would take the C Street and you take a quick ride up on the boat. And I think just, again, people in general it's getting out there all over the place that it's such a beautiful village to come and visit and go on hiking up on Breakneck. I've seen more traffic, not just in the village. As you know, I live outside the village, and there's the back of Breakneck where where the North Highland Firehouse is. If you go up Lake Surprise where we have our dams, I walk up there constantly, and there's a drove of cars going up to Lake Surprise and trying to hike the back end of Breakneck because they know that 9D is so packed. With all that being said, and also with limited number of parking that we have in the village to begin with, that's why people are coming up in droves and basically parking wherever they feel like it. And in my opinion, as I stated a little bit earlier, that if you have 5 people in your vehicle and you park on the side of the road, the biggest summons you can get, I believe, is $45. So you figure they're going to split that amongst each other for a day out hiking. That's not a bad fee, because there is no fee from New York State to hike on the hiking trails.
Thanks, Larry.
I had a couple of quick points, though, if I may. Just to let you know, we're trying to deal with the weekend parking issues as best we can. We're putting up no parking cones, as many as we can in areas we deem that we need to get, if we have to get fire trucks or ambulances down smaller streets, to try to just put up temporary no parking so we can actually access those streets as small as they are. And another thing I just want to let everybody know on, I've been going over to the county every 2 weeks to discuss the police policy reform that the executive legislature had put together. We meet over there every 2 weeks to discuss how we're going forward with this. And after that, I usually meet with the heads of the police department, sheriff's office, Brewster, Kent, Carmel, myself, and we discuss how we can further try to get the community involved. What we're looking to do is get a public hearing, probably over there, because they have a bigger area to hold more people due to COVID and only being able to put about 25% in one space, to talk to the any groups that would want to discuss police reform, whether it be Black Lives Matter, NAACP, or the any other groups that want to meet with us, and that's all as of the governor's executive order. That anybody is welcome, and we'll take any of their questions or their comments or anything that we can try to make the police and the citizens easier to deal with each other. It's not the correct word I'm looking for, but just to reach out to everybody and see what the problems are. And each municipality has a different problem. Brewster may have a small community of minorities in their area that they deal with that we don't have in Cold Spring, or maybe Carmel, or maybe in Kent. So we also, out of some of the, some of the ideas that the governor came out with may not work for Brewster, and that would work for Cold Spring. It may not work for Cold Spring, that, vice versa. So we're really deep in on it and trying to realize what it affects and what municipality it would affect on certain issues. Not one broad, you can't just take one brush and just have a policy that's going to be the whole county, because it's not going to work that way. So I just want to let whoever is in on the meeting today, whoever signed up to listen to us, that I'm in the forefront on that. Nothing is coming out written yet. We're still working on it, and hopefully in the near future, we will give the residents of Cold Spring an opportunity to come and speak with us. I'll leave that up to the board and the mayor on that. That was one point. I also had a major complaint about the food pantry, that we're getting cars lined up at 4 a.m. on Saturday morning, because as it's stated at the food pantry, it's first come, first serve. So from what the director told me, or the assistant director told me, that for the fresh food and the fresh vegetables, they like to get there early because I want to make sure they get them. So that's something I'm looking at. Definitely have the midnight patrol go over there at 4 o'clock, and if they're sitting there idling their cars, they're going to have to move, or if they're legally or illegally parked. Another point, would like to get together with people. If you have a Ring doorbell or some type of surveillance, I'm trying to get a list together that I know of residents that have that. That list will be kept in the police department. It will not be given to anybody. So this way, if a crime happens in that area, I know exactly what homeowners possibly could have video on anybody that we're looking at. And that's on a voluntary basis. Other than that, I have nothing else.
Larry,
Larry. Well, go ahead.
is there any possibility that the public hearing could be held on the west side of the county instead of on the east side of the county, or possibly 2 public hearings, one on the west, one on the east?
What public, I want to meet with our residents, because basically, we're responsible for our residents and the people on our side. So I want to meet with them personally, with the village board and myself on any concerns they have. I'm going over to the other side of the county just really to be a fact checker and to get the ideas of what they're using. And like I said, we're trying to get everybody in one area so we can at least attend the meeting. It would be hard for having, just say, the NAACP go to 5 different police municipalities for 5 different meetings. When if we can have them at one meeting, it'll cut down on having to deal with people through, going through the COVID, taking the temperature and stuff like that. And this way we can all have a general idea and a general meeting for what we're looking to do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
You're welcome.
Jeff is a real complainer, so the whole Academy Street thing, you don't have to take that seriously.
Oh, come on.
Oh, Jeff, not nice.
Oh, we'll be discussing parking later on in the meeting. So if you're around, Larry, it'd probably be good to have you in on the conversation. But it was a hopping weekend, or last couple of weekends. So I've gotten a number of complaints and a lot to discuss. So we'll follow up with that later on in the meeting. And as far as the meetings go, we'll definitely have a public meeting on this side of the county. Definitely, I don't know, we'll set it up. I don't know where we can do it, either the firehouse, if that's possible, or maybe the school, if the school would allow us there. Maybe it's too much work involved now with COVID and disinfecting everything, but we can ask once Larry's,
Hey, Dave, we've been having meetings on the rec center. It's already set up and chairs already spaced out already. We left it that way for all our meetings. It might be easy just to try to use that.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Thanks. Okay, moving along here, we got Rec Commission. Do we have anyone on for that? If not, I'll read that. Review for 2021 budget and work to be completed. Lighting for flag at Bandstand, Mayor's Park bathroom doors, painting the bandstand. 2, review of recreation properties and seasonal position with Robert Downey. 3, plan holiday decorations set up November 26th. Before I move on from that, if Rec needs some help, last year I think they could have used some help, so hopefully they'll reach out this year and we can get a few more people involved in that. I think we have 2 people doing the whole bandstand, or 3. So just wanted to mention that. Rec should definitely reach out and get some more people on board. Operate options for tree lighting and the Santa visit. And 5, update on opening of recreation properties, Top Park and Mayor's Park. And 6, potential new members to the commission. Let's see, I don't think we have anything from the planning board.
Dave, can you come back? Can you come back to recreation? It seems to me that having a Santa visit and the tree lighting is not exactly wise in the current environment.
I would agree. I guess they're talking about options, so see what they come up with.
Okay.
Go on from there. Yeah, I don't think having social gatherings really is ideal. We've tried to avoid it all year, so it's a few months off, but I would agree. We'll see what they come up with. I don't want to ruin Christmas also. I'm working on Halloween and I already destroyed 4th of July once, so there's not many holidays I got left. Christmas might do me in. Planning board, as I said, I don't have anything from them. Zoning board, is Aaron on?
He's not on the list.
No.
Don't see him.
Okay, current business, board denied an application for variances needed to construct a home at 21 Parsons Street on September 3rd. The board approved an application for a variance needed to construct a garage in the front yard setback on 11 Benedict Road on September 3rd. New business, on October 1st, the board held a workshop for 4 Morris Avenue for a variance required to build a 6-foot fence along the south side of the property where it borders the B1 district and the R1 district. A public hearing is scheduled for October 15. Old business, on October 6th, the board closed the public hearing for 21 Parsons Street and held a workshop for 11 Benedict Road. And finally, on August, no, it's not, I guess, yes, finally is on August 20th, the board reviewed the merits of the 21 Parsons Street application and requested that the village attorney, John First, provide a summary of the board's discussion. Let's see, zoning, Town of Phillipstown. Bob, you are definitely here, so you're up. Bob Flaherty, still there?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. All right, yep. I was the computer. I was making that noise, so that's why I called. I'm sorry about that.
All right.
Anyway, I'd like to thank Bruce Campbell for all he has done for our community and his many years of public service. We send our condolences to the entire Campbell family. First thing on the town hall, renovations are still moving forward. As I indicated last month, we had a real slow summer and not a lot of work was done. Things have picked up and we're still not really pleased with the progress that's going on, but the work they're doing is very nice and it's quality work. Time frame to move in, we're still looking late this year, early next year to be completed. We also approved a few change orders. We're also moving forward, as I indicated, with the building of the new highway garage. Beatty and Watson will be doing landscaping, and Quest will be doing the asbestos testing. There's some asbestos up there, so they got to go in there and do the test, and then come up with a plan to do some abatement. We had a discussion with many people of Indian Brook Road. We've been talking about parking. Indian Brook Road now has been been overwhelmed for months now, and the residents down there really, been putting up with an awful lot. We closed the parking lot down there for the marsh. We put up barriers up every place, but it doesn't seem to help. People just do what they want down there, and it's not a good situation. We're looking at possibility of possibly buying boots to put on, and then maybe try to hire somebody to do that, or deputize a tow truck company or whatever. But things are pretty bad down there, as everyone's fully aware of. Just like Route 9D, it's just as bad down there. We're starting our budget season. We're looking at $11.4 million budget for 2021. We're still doing all our planning, zoning, and conservation board meetings via Zoom. They seem to be working out real well. We still had 2 public hearings via Zoom, and they really are working out pretty well. So I don't know if you guys are doing public hearings via Zoom or not, but it's working out for us so far. Roberto Muller, our Climate Smart person, gave another update, as I indicated last month, that we have the Freon reclaim, and right now we're at a point where we have the 25 devices, the 25 units, so that's going to be scheduled for the first time for that contractor to come in and remove the Freon, which is a really good thing for everybody in our community, to reduce our carbon footprint. That's about it. Just everybody too, please fill out your census. So I see that Cold Springs leading the pack with the most people doing the census. So way to go. And we're trying to catch you guys, Phillipstown. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Dave,
Yes,
can I jump in here real quick and ask Bob a question?
sure.
Bob, I've been walking up by Lake Surprise, and right where the dam is, we're getting a lot of people parking there. I've reached out to John Van Tassel in the past on possibly putting no parking signs right where the dam is. If you guys could look into that, since that's what you kind of cover. I know we are supposed to patrol the outskirts, but it's really getting, on the weekends, was getting to be a real bad issue up there also, of people parking on that small bridge that's right where the dam is.
Yeah, right below the dam.
Yeah, and I've been getting phone calls into the village about people their complaining about the parking and suspicious vehicles up there on a couple of occasions on the weekends.
Okay, very good. All right, I'll bring it up to everybody, and I'll also contact the sheriff as well.
Yeah, I've talked to the sheriff. They generally patrol up there, but again, if there's no parking signs, there's really not much they can do.
Yep, gotcha.
Thank you.
All right, I'll check with Carl, see if he's got a couple laying around. I'm sure we do.
Appreciate it.
I had a question for you, Bob. The paper last week, the Highlands Current, had an article obviously about Indian Brook Road, but it was mentioned in the article that the Board of Supervisors is considering suing the state for lack of management of the parks in our area. Is there really any?
Well, Richard mentioned that at our meeting. I don't know how serious he is about that, but I'm sure everyone's frustrated. So I'm sure he's gonna, at some point in time, he may go down that avenue. He did mention it in the meeting. I don't know how serious he is about it, but I can follow up with him and see if he's going to move forward with that. I'll find out.
Okay. I had the opportunity, the requirement of driving to Beacon twice on Sunday, and say for taking 64 all the way around, it was an absolute nightmare. So, I know
Yeah, no,
it is.
it's all
So
over. From 9D corridor, every place you go, it's bad. I mean, even Anthony Knows down there is bad too.
That's
All these
dangerous.
places.
I can say with certainty that Richard is serious.
Really?
He definitely is, and I don't blame him, and I'll be there supporting him for whatever. We'll be discussing that also later in our parking. A lot of this is definitely not village, but the impact from the parks and their lack of management is affecting us drastically and dramatically. So we definitely need to talk about it, and maybe there's nothing they can do about it, but some people aren't really aware of what we're up against or who actually controls the areas. See a lot of Facebook chatter, but I don't think anyone really realizes what some of the problems are. But like I said, we'll be discussing.
Yeah, I think they reduced the amount of park police too, right? From what I understand too, they reduced that.
Well, the
as
park
well.
police have become, state troopers have taken over park police. There is no more park police from what I understand.
Right.
Or there might be
Yeah.
straggling
There
cars.
may be a
whatever.
few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So state police are now patrolling, and I don't know, I stay away. That's how I deal with it. Unfortunately, I don't have to go down through there because it's just whatever.
Yeah,
You're
it's
just
terrible. I mean,
frustrated and driven crazy. It's like the village, but yeah. So anyway, we'll discuss that also and the impact, because the parks, having the parks and the people that are mostly parking around in the village are just parking, leaving, and they're not going into the village, or maybe they're there for a little while, but they're heading for the mountains and the trails, and they're there all day, and their cars are here all day. So anyway, and it's just
yeah,
spreading east farther and farther up into the village.
yeah, it seems like every weekend gets worse and worse, as Larry indicated.
It definitely does, no doubt about it. Historic District Review. Do we have Kathleen on or someone?
She's on the meeting, but
Okay, I guess I will read that one.
there she is.
Myself on. Hi.
Hi, Kathleen.
Okay. So current applications for HDRB. We've had a couple of interesting ones in the last month. We reviewed and approved an application for a patio / terrace awning for one of the condominium units at 22 Butterfield Road. That's building 3, the first commercial unit to be, I'm sorry, the first residential building to be completed and with residents. At Butterfield, it was for awnings because the balconies on the 3rd floor are very, very bright. We also met with owners of a unit located within the Forge Gate condominiums at 11 The Boulevard. They wanted replacement windows and doors. The management company and the condominium board at Forge Gate give a list of instructions to their residents and property owners requesting a type of solid vinyl window that the design standards does not allow. Of course, when the complex was built, there were extruded aluminum windows put in, and they're not really available market. I mean, they are, but for very high price. And most over time, because we haven't had much enforcement there, a lot of windows have been replaced organically with these vinyl windows. And so an application, we now have a building inspector who is referring applications, and she is making sure that the code is enforced. So we had this applicant, I feel like I'm repeating myself. I feel like we talked about this the last time. Point of all this was we had a long conversation with the applicant and with the property manager and with Charlotte Mountain, the building inspector. And in addition to recognizing the conditions under which the application was being made and sort of organic evolution in that part of the district over time, and not wanting to sort of punish a single property owner by saying no to something that had happened over time, we approved that application, and then we agreed as a board that as we go forward and finish our design standards, which I'll talk about in a second, that we will carve out a portion of the design standards to make standards that are more specific for that portion of the district in Forge Gate, because it's not like, because of its modern materials and later construction, it's not like other parts of the village. And I think we all agree that we need to make consideration of conserving modern materials there. And that also will make it easier for the folks living down there rather than complying with a village code or not, or a co-op code or not. And so on that note, the design standards, we have repackaged them. We hope to be sending them tomorrow to our designer who'll be laying them out. We're finally all caught up on that. And we're really excited about them and hoping to be done with them by the end of the year. So that's where we are.
Thank you. And thank you, Bert. I think that's a great decision about Forge Gate. I did, holding them to a standard different than what they actually are.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But I will say, in recognition of Charlotte, the property owner and the board both recognize that she is actually doing her job. She's enforcing the code and doing referrals, and the applicant had a very positive experience working with her, and we've had nothing but positive experiences working with her, and we're so happy to have her on board. So thank you for finding her.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, a big fire company report. You ready for this, Steve? Got some water? Keep you.
Yeah, a lot.
Break it down.
Fire
Come on, break it down into a couple words.
All right. 17 alarms for September, and the annual hose testing was completed. And that's all the reports from Tom Merrigan, Chief.
I think they've actually been pretty busy on Breakneck and in the area. So, and also the fire in Nelsonville, which they assisted on or were the primary. So those weren't mentioned in the report, all things that the company's been doing. So thank you to you, the guys in our fire company for continually trekking up the mountain and for taking care of and not having the fire in Nelsonville spread. That could have been a disaster. So again, thank you. Okay, let's see. Tree advisory. Just got a late email from Jen. I think it's in the packet though. Pretty much nothing new, except they do have their RFPs out for the bid proposals for the tree work to be done. That's the takedowns and pruning. And I believe all the trees that have been marked, there's letters on the trees that are proposed or will be being taken down, so that the anyone in the area will be aware that the trees are coming down there. And that's it from the tree advisory. Anything from the chamber? Moving on. Okay, moving along. Matt, report for water and maintenance and wastewater.
Sure. I think we're doing a little bit better on the reservoir status. We're almost about 12-13% better than we were last year. The usage is also down by 4.1%, but I think that has a lot to do with the service line repair that was done mid-September. It was probably estimated around 10 to 12 gallons a minute. So that's definitely helping out with the water consumption throughout the district. The bacteriological tests that were done were all found in good standing. We also did hydrant flushing towards the end of September. That went pretty smooth. I have to send out the annual drinking water quality report. It's just kind of falling to the wayside, but I'll definitely try and get that out, hopefully relatively sooner than later. The reservoirs, we did start exercising the upper reservoir valve and started releasing waters pretty much 2 days a week, starting on 9/11. So that's been basically keeping the lower or mid reservoir at above 60% and just basically feeding the system as we need to keep up with the water production needs. Still no update on anything with the Catskill DEP project. That's pretty much all we got for water. Wastewater was relatively quiet as well. Everything looks good there at the plant. And when we did when the resident did have their service line repaired, we also found that the sewer lateral had been compromised. Basically, it ate a hole through the top of the clay piping and was feeding directly into it. So it wasn't actually a sewer leak, but just basically a place for the water to go, which is why it never surfaced. But yeah, both of them were rectified, and we are seeing a reduction in usage and what we're pulling into the sewer plant. So we're in pretty good shape.
Great. glad to see the valves working, and
Yeah.
thanks for your help on the helping with the Highlands. What was it?
Jason report.
There you go.
Thank you. The Jason report. Thank you. Lost
Can I
it
ask-
for a
can I
minute.
ask-
Wasn't coming, but thank you for all your work on that. That was a great report, and will definitely be helpful in the future.
Can I ask a fast question? Matt, I'm sorry, on the wastewater report, it says liquid sludge held off site 0 gallons. Is that
That-
unusual? Or is that
Yeah,
good?
we've been, like I said, we've been modifying the process techniques of the sewer plants, trying to save any which way we can, whether it's chemical, sludge hauling. So basically, it just kind of worked out that way for last month with being able to dewater naturally as opposed to getting additional trucks hauled out. But so we pushed it back about a week. We did actually just have it done there. So it's, yeah, we got through September without getting a haul, but we did have it for October. So,
Nice, thank you.
yep.
Also, thanks for getting the flushing done. I think that's really, really meaningful, and it's always a risky time of year to do it. You know.
Yeah, it was better now than waiting a couple more weeks and getting the frost. So yeah, it definitely
Yeah.
worked out well.
So yeah, that's great. So I'm glad that was done. Thanks.
Yep.
Okay, building department report. Does Charlotte happen to be on?
No.
Okay. New building permit applications received 14, building permits issued 10, dumpster permits issued 2, COs issued 8, record searches completed 12, complaints received 2. Referrals generated 4 by the HDRB. Application and permit fees collected $1,972.25. Record search fees collected $900, and other fees $60, for a total for September of $2,932.25. Thank you, Charlotte. From all that I've heard, Charlotte's doing a great job. I think she said she's caught up on a lot of things as far as planning goes, and she was happy about that. So thank you, Charlotte. Let's see, Report Highway. Bugsy on? No Bugsy either?
No.
Jeez, nobody loves us. I'll just read this. Garbage, 61.1 tons, recycling 20.3 tons. For the month of September, we used 5 yards of item 4 on East Belvedere and Hamilton Street. Had 2 brush collections, trimmed limbs around the village, cleaned off the roads at the EO subway entrance, and at the visitor center bathrooms, removed and repaired 60 feet of sidewalks on Parsonage Street, repaired broken plumbing on FD's fire department, installed 2 new faucets on village offices, and removed and buried 5 dead deer. We acquired 2 sump pumps and 2 trash pumps from the fire department that were donated by a resident. We have taken over Recreation's workload and installed 2 new soap dispensers at Mayor's Park Pavilion, and we had a new clutch installed on the zero-turn mower. For the months of October, we have 1, possibly 2 sidewalks to remove and repair, tree limbs to get caught up on, and get rid of the pending, get ready for the pending order. Thank you. Is Jeff still on? Is Jeff on?
Yes.
Jeff, has Jack started, Jack Delvecchio?
No, not yet.
Okay. But he
I
was
have to coordinate with Bugsy as to a start date.
informed that he has the job and whatever.
He was informed today.
Oh, okay. All right, thanks. Justice Court, fines, forfeited bail, civil penalties, $3,300, parking tickets, $4,420, civil fees, $212.50, mandatory state surcharges, $1,441, for a total of $9,373.50. Let's see. Next, report of mayor and board of trustees. We have anything from the board? Anyone like to start that off?
Well, I'll start off. We have some interest from the producers of a limited series from Showtime. They are looking at Cold Spring to do some film shooting sometime in January. I believe the assistant production manager, Damon Gordon, is watching our meeting tonight and may have something to say during public comment. Looks like an interesting project. I met with one of their location people today and kind of gave them a tour around the village. They will be needing some business locations to set up and film, so it might be a real boon to our local community our local business community during a very, very slow time of the year. So I just wanted to introduce Damon. I believe he's here, and you know, it's an exciting project, and I'm glad that people are considering shooting in Cold Spring again.
For the introduction, hi everyone. My name is Damon Gordon, and I'm the assistant production manager on the show that we are currently calling Marble. It is a limited series for Showtime, as she just mentioned. It is a reboot of a very popular show that currently is still a secret. Certainly before we fill out any applications, I will be able to tell you that, but right now it's still a secret. Unfortunately, I can't right now.
Not anymore. You just let everybody know.
Oh no,
Yeah,
there goes
okay.
my end. So we have fallen in love with Cold Spring, and we have our creative team on their way from different states doing their different quarantine protocols so that we can bring them to Cold Spring and take a look in person. As she was mentioning, we are looking to film over a number of months, not consecutively or continuously, but over a number of months, probably beginning in the end of January and continuing until June. There are a number of scenes that take place in town squares, walking into and out of businesses, some of which we will want to film on location in reality, some of which we will want to film in conjunction with some work that we build, or some sets that we build on our sound stages that have yet to be determined, perhaps upriver or some other sound stages here or as close to Cold Spring as possible. So at this early phase, without having our creative team on the ground here and without seeing it in person, I just wanted to introduce the project to everyone and say that we are really looking forward to the possibility of working with the town, working with all the different municipal entities, certainly following whatever protocols you have for permitting and the use of streets. Never do we need anything exclusively. Certainly we will need control and intermittent control, but that remains to be seen, and that would be a discussion that we would take with all of you and certainly utilize your guidance to help figure out how we can work safely in the town. As I heard earlier mentioning perhaps how Christmas might get lost, we will want to bring Christmas back much later. So it will be there in some fake nature, perhaps in February. So that would be something else we would want to do in addition to working with the businesses. I guess finally what I wanted to just talk about is in this new reality of COVID-19, Showtime and our CBS and Viacom corporate entity takes this very seriously, and of course all of our cast and crew will be held to very strict COVID mitigation protocols, which of course we can provide to all of you. There are times when our actors will have to work without personal protective equipment, and we will need to maintain some sort of safe work zone in those times. Other than that, I certainly thank you all for your time and hope that we can work at Cold Spring.
Great. Nice to meet you
Thank you.
virtually.
And it was nice meeting Mr. Park today and kind of showing him around the village and some options that might be there for you. So I look forward to working with you guys and helping you in any way I can.
Well, thank you very much. I think Hill Park just joined.
In this too.
Sorry, I don't know what happened. I got disconnected and it's over. Great.
No, it's,
just in
I
time.
think we were just looking for, you know, the possibility of you guys being open to that and amenable to, you know, working with a major production in the town.
Showtime has done some other projects here too.
Great.
So,
Wonderful. So you're familiar with what we do. It's basically always the same.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else from the board?
Nope. Mm.
I got nothing.
Well, I have a few things, so it'll take up some time. First, there's a segue there into COVID. So the results from the dashboard, as they call it today, there's 31 new cases in our area. Phillipstown's the lowest in all of Putnam County. And I believe that we have no new cases here. Carmel has 17, Kent 6, Patterson 1, Putt Valley 2, and Southeast has, I believe that's 8. So there is a little bit of a spike going on, so we have to keep on our toes here. Next thing I'd like to talk about just for a second. There is a group, and you hear stuff on Facebook and see stuff, and people call you and tell you about it or are alarmed about it. One is about police defunding, and I'm not sure where this came from, but the future trustee, Heidi Stevens, was accused or has been said to have said she is defending the police department. And her name is actually being used in a handout or something online, saying that she wants to defund it, which means that, of course, we want to defund it. So I just wanted to debunk that rumor. Heidi's assured us that, although she'd like to look into the police department, she never said that she wanted to defund it. I can't say if that's true or not. I haven't heard it, but I'll take her word for it. And I don't think anybody on our board has ever discussed that, or it's not something I would even consider. I don't know how you would defund our police department. For the people that don't know, it's I think we have 13 to 14 officers. They're all part-time, so we don't have to pay any benefits, which saves an incredible amount of money. We basically have one officer on, at a time, 24/7. I think you need that in a village, especially that has a main street, and definitely on the weekends. This weekend especially, our guys, we had just one person on. We couldn't find another. Larry couldn't find someone else. And Larry, if he's still on, can speak to that. But we have Nico doing parking, who does a phenomenal job. And we had one person on that, was basically had to deal with accidents, had to deal with an incredible amount of people in the village, and also had to break up, from what Larry had told me, and he can elaborate still on, some altercations on Marion Avenue with parking, because there was parking on both sides of the street. And anyone that went into the village knows it was just insane this week. So without police, you don't have that type of protection. You don't have someone you can call. I was actually going to call the police on Academy Street, because at 4 something in the morning, I hear doors shutting and opening and shutting and opening. I have no idea what's going on. And being half deaf, they had to be making more noise than, everyone else had to have heard it. So, I called our police. They came up, and, it was people waiting, waiting to get into the food pantry. But, I'm sure there are a number of people that have had situations where they've had to call our police, and they're there to answer. Are we perfect? No, but who is? And what organization is? And is there room for improvement? Like anyone, including our board and any other department in the village? Yeah, there is. But I think our guys do a great job. And so I just wanted to, I think there's supposed to be a rally on the 25th or somewhere towards the end of the month. And it's kind of bringing a national issue to a village that really doesn't need to have that type of attention brought to it.
I might mention, Dave, that our incoming trustee is Heidi Bender. Even though we know Heidi Stevens too, we don't want her getting rumors about her either.
Oh, I'm sorry, Heidi. That's right. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. That's important. But yeah, so I just wanted to try to get ahead of that a little bit. People can, people can come and do what they want and complain and say whatever they would like to, but really it's a non-issue issue. I don't think anybody, not that I know of, on our board is talking about defunding our police. I think we're all interested to see where things come with the governors, what Larry's working on. But besides that, I think that police are valued quite a bit in our village.
I'd also like to mention that if people want to have a rally, maybe they should join our meetings and express whatever it is they want to say to the people who can actually do something about it, instead of just waving signs and making a bunch of noise. Start where your effort is actually going to do some good, and join in these meetings. They're free and open to anybody to join in and make your comments. So I don't know, I just have to express some frustration that people are willing to start all these rumors on Facebook and have rallies on the street corners and wave signs and stuff, but they don't show up here. So I'd just like to encourage people to do that. Thank you, Dave.
I'd like to jump back on that also. As everybody knows, as long as I've been with the Cold Spring Police Department, that I welcome any meetings whatsoever. I answer emails as fast as I can. My phone is always on. If I'm, not in a, if I'm not working, if I'm walking the village, I've had people ask me questions. I'm so approachable on anywhere, anytime you see me. So if there's an issue where you have a problem or just a question, or you just want to voice your opinion, I'm welcome to any way, either email, phone, or in person. I know in the past it's hard due to the COVID that we're all Zooming. I like to see people face to face. I like to talk to people one-on-one. It's a little hard to do that when you're on the computer and stuff like that. So I just wanted to also put that out there, that we myself and my guys, the officers that work for the village, are always open for suggestions, for any comments, or any complaints that anybody may have.
Could you elaborate a little on the Marion Avenue situation?
Yep, I was informed that Marion Avenue was, since there's parking available on both sides of the street, that due to every other parking space being taken from Mayor's Park all the way down, they decided they wanted to park on Marion Avenue on both sides. So the Marion Avenue, you had a car coming down the street going northbound, and you had one going southbound. Neither car refused to back up because there was no other way of getting in and out. So we had a verbal argument. I was grateful that the officer got there quick enough that it didn't become a physical argument, or a physical altercation, I should say. So he was able to do that and separate them and get them on their way. But it happened a couple of times. As people know, on Fair Street, it happens quite often because people decide that the sign that says one way on Sunday especially does not apply to them. So they go around the sign and they go down the one way, and we have people parked on the west side of the street, and they cause all sorts of traffic incidents and people going on sidewalks and people going backwards and stuff like that. So that was one of the incidents we had. As I don't know if I stated earlier, but the officer that was on Saturday has been here for approximately 17 years. He said it was the busiest weekend he's ever seen in his career. This weekend we have extra officers on. I got an officer to come in. It's come in at 12 o'clock to 12 to, his normal shift would be a 4 to 12. He's going to come in at 12 to 4 to help the day officer if there's any incidents or stuff like that, to keep traffic flowing. So I will have that covered, hopefully Saturday and Sunday. I know definitely Saturday. And again, it's the season where everybody wants to come here and hike and see the leaves and the foliage and stuff like that. Hopefully by the end of this month, it'll return to normal.
Thanks, Larry. I guguess continuing on with the parking and the weekends, just wanted to mention, and again with Facebook, and you stay tuned. I go through it. I listen to it. I know who's just likes to rile things up and whatever, we all do. But the one thing, and I think that Lynn hit on, is like people never go to the source. Even people that are just really interested for some reason don't go to the source. So I think there's a petition out, and people are very upset and concerned about 9D. So the thing about 9D, I think everyone should realize, is that in a way, well, most of most of the areas are outside of our jurisdiction. So when people are showing films and everything from, anything past part of, at the end of Fair Street past Mayor's Park, mostly from there all the way to the tunnel, is Phillipstown. And then a lot of the films that are being shown are from Breakneck to Beacon, which is neither of our jurisdictions. But Richard and I have been working and trying to get things done ever since COVID hit. And it's been frustrating. And we've met with DOT. We've met with the park a couple of times, the representatives for our area. We have another meeting regarding emergency services either on Thursday or Friday with parks again. But the people that are most control of the highways are DOT, and DOT does not seem to want to help, in controlling that. And as Mike Bowman actually said in one of the strings, they actually see it as a control that the people are, on the streets and in the roads, because then people have to slow down. So in a way, they feel like it's a control for the area. But the areas that are showing, and I heard there was parking all the way to Beacon on both sides of the road. I heard there was no enforcement. I don't know if there could have been, or maybe they were just totally overwhelmed. But this is all DOT. The parks don't have anything to do with that, directly with parking. If the cars are off the road, if they're not over the white line, DOT, from our meeting and what they told us, and this was totally frustrating, they don't feel like they have to do anything with that. And they're not going to do anything about it. So they're the people that put up signs. They're the ones that control the speed limits. They're the ones you have to go through. So anyone that has concerns about 9D, everything should really go to DOT. That should be the first person. The second, and as Richard brought up in emails today, or I think it was yesterday, is that the parks do have a responsibility. They advertise, they bring people in. It's their responsibility to help in managing what all these people that are being brought in, and we're getting absolutely no help from them. And with budget cuts probably on the way, we'll probably be getting even less. They don't seem to want to control the numbers. They don't want to think outside the box. They don't want to put up meters. They don't want to. I don't understand why they don't want to control it or feel they can't. It's not impossible. There might be ways, people might come in from other ways beside the trailhead. They definitely will, but the majority of the people will be going to the trailheads. And if we can, if there's something that the parks can do to set up ticketing or day passes or whatever, that should be looked into. It's just destroying our properties, our parks, and the impact on our village is just getting worse and worse, because the people aren't, there's no benefit whatsoever. Maybe they'll come into the village for a little while, but for the most part, like on these past weekends, they're parking on Academy, which they've never parked on. They're having lunch there, sitting on Jeff's wall, unpacking their cars or whatever, taking their hike and leaving their cars there all day. And this is throughout the village. And then it's just constant traffic. Sitting in my backyard this week was like, there was police sirens all the time. I mean, you could have been in the city. If you closed your eyes, you might as well have been in the city. There was so much traffic, motorcycles and cars and sirens going on almost all day. There was an accident, I believe one person was killed up on 9D. There was an accident down by Depot Restaurant, I believe, and people on the mountain again. So it's really crazy. So if you want to direct, I think there should be a concerted effort. I'm glad people are getting riled up and getting a petition set, but it needs to go to the right people, and I'll be glad to forward it. But if you'd like directly to go to them, if you're listening, send it to DOT, send it to Parks, and ask them to please take a look at what's happening, understand the impacts, and do something about it. The parking in the village, had one very long email from residents on High Street. This is unusual. Like I said, Academy Street never had this until this year. Academy and Cherry Street and all the areas, in my area were totally packed, as were the rest of the village. And Marion sounds like a total mess. And High Street also So this is what people in the village have been dealing with forever, Church Street and Fair Street and Garden Street. So we're kind of all part of it now. As far as what we can do, first I'd like to start up the parking committee again to look at everything, to go over everything. So that's one thing I'd like to do, and discuss once again residential parking and any other thing that we can think of that might help alleviate parking and maybe somehow mitigate the problems we're having from parks. To the people on High Street, I hear you and feel for you, but this is public parking. It's public streets and people have the right and can park there. We can't say no parking or resident parking only. At least I haven't been able to find a way to do that. I had a long discussion with our attorney today regarding the implementation of our resident parking districts. We never implemented it to start with because we didn't feel like we could meet the criteria set by the state. John has suggested we call and recommended we call NICOM to see how other villages have handled it. The one thing was the 20%. You need to leave 20% for non-residents. Marie and I, did some calculating last year, year before, and it didn't seem like we could meet that threshold. There might be a way to do it. I'm not sure if there's restrictions on it. That doesn't alleviate the problem, though. We need to get signs up on streets for shorter amounts of time for parking. This will eliminate people just from parking and just leaving their cars there all day. Might not stop all the problems, but we should definitely discuss that. I did have a few things from John. I think basically, John said we should be working with the, trying to see what we can be done with the district, the residential parking district, which we, were given the go-ahead by the state, but we never implemented. One other thing that I did talk to him about was the fines for parking. We'd have to do that through resolutions. And he gave me the chapters to look at. There's our vehicle and traffic law sections 126-23. We would have to amend that to put higher parking fines if we would like to do that, maybe discourage people. My son had sent, or someone also on Facebook had sent a sign from the Hamptons, which was, just straight to the point. It was $250 fine for parking fine first time, and it was also said it was a tow-away zone. So these are things that we can think about and work on. There definitely is no disincentive or no reason why anyone wouldn't park. Like Larry said, for 20 bucks or whatever, $50, who cares? Park all day. Also, Dutchess Manor, I believe Scenic Hudson purchased that, and or OSI, one or the other, and they're charging 20 bucks for a space, I guess, for the day, and that parking lot was completely full, from what I understand. So that's something else we should consider. Mayor's Parkway, all these things I don't think we're going to get done this year, but we should definitely get things together for the spring. We only got a couple more weeks, hopefully, and maybe things will subside a bit. But, if the board's okay with it, I'd like to advertise, and I'll come up with, I'll send an email with a number or whatever we think, or we can just kind of come up with a number for a committee. But I think we should start the parking committee up, get a few people from Main Street, businesses. I'd definitely like to have someone from restaurants to see what they feel is hourly parking should be, and work from there and get residents from around the whole area. It's only going to get worse in areas that haven't been affected or going to be affected. So we should really start working on it and seeing what we can do with. And if there's nothing, at least we'll have given it everything we have and be able to respond to the residents.
Dave, can I ask? Can I just ask one thing, which to me sounds sort of simple, and obviously I live on High Street, and I don't seem to have some of the issues that my neighbors have. But can we have the highway department paint our driveways yellow so that people are aware of it, because cars do sort of block edges of driveways and it's hard to get in and out of it. And I know they did that in other parts of the village. Can we have that done in more places so that cars are aware that there's a driveway? Because driveways aren't always easy to tell. There's no curbs, there's no break. So if we can get our driveways marked off, X'd off with yellow paint, it would be helpful. Is that something we can just get done without having to go through a whole voting process?
I don't think we have to have a resolution or anything. How does the board feel about that? Or do you think there's another way that could be, do you think a yellow line just across where the driveway is would work, or does it need to be an X out?
Whatever they can do, whatever's the easiest. I know that I think somebody on the block has already sort of painted his own yellow line, which I know we're not supposed to be doing. But it would be helpful if at least the driveway itself is marked, whether it's just a yellow line across the driveway, just so that people can see it.
Right.
So that they know there's a driveway there.
Larry, still here? Part of
Yep, I'm here.
Larry, is that a towing offense to block the
certainly.
driveway?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So
Particularly-
maybe villagers should be made aware of that as well. Call a tow company if that should happen to them.
Yeah, we had one of the incidents that we did have was one of the residents called the desk phone upstairs that a car was blocking his driveway. Of course, my guys are mostly out on the street. If they're upstairs, they're quickly doing a report or they're changing shifts. The gentleman called back again about a half hour later and was pretty pissed off that nobody responded. But there is a app on the phone that actually will transfer you from the desk phone to the cell phone that the officer carries. So that's what he should have did. So the officer could have got there, wrote the ticket, and got him towed out as soon as he could. Again, being as busy as he was over the weekend, it was a little tough to answer that call to one of the residents. But again, always contact the cell phone. It'll go directly to the cell phone, and hopefully, if the officer's not handling a job at that minute, he'll pick up the phone and get there. But yep, we usually write a ticket and we have him towed immediately out of the driveway.
Can a resident make that call, or is it only the officer?
What's that?
Could a resident call the tow company directly?
I would rather have my guy do it, issue him a summons and do that, because then at least we know that we removed the car, because the owner's going to come in and say his car was stolen. So then we're going to be taking a stolen car report instead of just a tow report. So this way at least we know.
Okay.
Dave, one of the things I think that should be considered is metering Mayor's Park.
Mm-hmm.
We had talked about that a couple of months ago. Fran and I did a road trip 2 weeks ago to look at what meters would be best utilized at Mayor's Park. In addition to the current spots that are available at Mayor's Park, the parking lot could be extended to the south to pick up another 5, 6, 7 parking spaces in front of the fence of the wastewater treatment plant. So that's a place that could be metered. In addition, once the town vacates the old Homestead building, the parking lot there adjacent to Marathon could also be metered. Now, to make it successful, we would need to put another sign on Main Street pointing to Rock Street as the path to get from Main Street to the second or third municipal parking lot. So those are, I think, some additional parking areas. The one at Marathon is most attractive to Main Street. It turns out, I think it's closer, if not equidistant, from the Fair Street parking lot. So I'd like both of those to be considered. First, the Mayor's Park parking lot, and then second, the parking lot at Marathon.
Dave, one other question. I'm sorry.
I'm finished.
Can we, I know that I've always heard that Metro North doesn't want us to put signs on Main Street pointing to the Metro North parking lot. Can we have that discussion with them again? I mean, there's free parking down at the Metro North, and if we put a couple of signs with arrows saying free parking on the weekends at the Metro North parking lot, or even if it's not free, even if they want to charge, I mean, but can we designate that and put signs so that people know that there's a whole big parking lot down there that's available? I mean, I don't know why they don't want us to put signs up. it's there, it's available. Maybe we can have that discussion with them again and put signs for parking down there.
I think that should definitely be part of the discussion, and I think we should definitely point out to Metro North that they're making a lot of money and dropping tons of people off at our doorstep, and we're seeing little for it. So, you know, I think we do have a little bit of, well, I don't think we have leverage. We definitely have a legitimate, request of them to do something for us and asking them to do that. I'm sure they'll say they would love to do that, but that goes to a board or whatever. But I think it should definitely be considered, and we should definitely ask them. And Neil Zuckerman's been really good as our rep, so he's someone we can talk to about that.
Why don't we just put up, I'm sorry, go ahead, Dave.
Well, just if we get the committee going, I think that's what Fran just brought up. I think that should be considered.
Yeah.
I think we should do something. Definitely, we should reach out to them, and I think we should definitely be considering metering the whole village. I think we should be considering, and where it's possible. There is a remote metering, which I know little about, but there's a way to do that. I'm not sure. It means signage, but it doesn't mean having meters, actual physical meters all over the village. But that might be something we should look into. I just did it was just a search. They do it in some villages. I'm not sure how problematic it is or the pluses or minuses. You'd have to have an app, obviously, so that would rule out a bunch of people. But again, if you wanted to meter Main Street, you'd need one of those meters, like at least on every corner, I would think, or else people would have to walk 2 blocks to, get a ticket or whatever they have to do. So I think they should all be considered. My only concern with Marathon is that we're going to then be driving a lot of traffic through Rock Street, which I don't think is a great idea. It's a very tight, probably one of the tightest streets in the village. The area is great. I mean, Marathon has all kinds of, that whole area would be great, but I think the one concern would be traffic. Go ahead, Lynn, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just suggesting we put up a sign saying free parking at Metro North parking lot. And if they want us to take it down, we take it down. In this case, we've asked them so many times to help us out here and gotten no response. Just put up the sign and they'll probably not even notice it. So, I mean, even though it's not technically legal. But,
right, they've said no in the past, Lynn. So I think it would be not a prudent move for the village to put up a sign without Metro North's agreement. Having said that, many of the Metro North parking lots are free on weekends. There's a sign that shows that there is a Metro North station in the village of Cold Spring. Why more people don't follow that sign for free parking is beyond me. If you are a Metro North user, you know that parking is free, at least on the east side of the Hudson. Parking is free at Metro North lots, not at every lot, because some of the lots are not owned by Metro North. They're owned by, for example, the municipality in which the station is located. But why people don't follow that is beyond me.
I know. Well, I had this very busy, go ahead.
I think one problem with the sign is that it's behind a branch and you can't even see it if you go over the bridge. So that needs to be dealt with. Maybe it's as simple as asking them to put a free on weekends underneath their sign, like, as part of. It's not asking them if something they're not offering.
But there is a sign on 9D that points down Main Street. So yeah. There's that sign, and then there's the sign across Luntar's Bridge. Yeah.
I wouldn't, if I went to a village, I don't think I would think about that for whatever reason.
Well, what's remarkable is that I had this very busy Sunday, this past Sunday, having to go to Beacon twice, and then also having to pick somebody up from the train station. And when I went to the train station at 3:30 in the afternoon, there was like 10% of the place had cars parked there. 90% of it was empty. I couldn't believe it. It was shocking. So, Yeah, I think Metro North owes us a little bit here. I agree with Dave on that one.
They did fix the elevator, so everyone,
Yeah.
we're good with
That's
that.
their,
Only
that's
took
their
a year.
elevator.
So is everyone fine with us starting up the committee? I can send around, we could talk about numbers. I don't want to do that right now, take up time, but the number of people, we'd have 2 people from the board and, you know, go from there, see if we can get that going quickly and see what we can do and work on, I don't know, we'll be rehashing stuff, but maybe it'll come to something this time.
I'm fine with that.
Me too.
Really.
Okay, where are we?
The planning board resolution?
Okay, next is the planning board parking waiver recommendations for 124 Main Street. We have a letter here from Matt Francisco, the chair of the village planning board, recommending the approval for 4, is it 4?
Yeah.
4, yeah, 4 off-street parking spaces. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Do we need a resolution for this?
I think there is one. Is there one with it? Yeah, there's a resolution for planning board.
That's a planning board resolution. Do we need a village board resolution?
No, historically in the past, we just vote on the letter of recommendation from the planning board.
Okay.
Thank you, Jeff. So is that, so that's not a roll call then? Right. Okay, so if there's no discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next, approval of minutes of October 6, 2020, Village Board Workshop. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we can open this up. Is there anything else from the board? Anything at all?
Mm-mm.
Well, I just had one small thing I wanted to add to, we were talking about all the people visiting on weekends, and for some reason I went hiking last Sunday. Don't ask me why. But I went out really early in the morning, and on my way back, I started counting people. Basically, I was coming down off of Bull Hill to the parking lot at Washburn, and right around the quarry there, I just started counting people just for fun. By the time I got to that parking lot, I was over 100 people.
Jiminy.
That's about a 10-minute walk. And they were all coming in packs of 10 and 15 and 5 and 2. And it was just incredible, the amount of people coming up there. And when I got to the parking lot, it was jammed with people trying to park, people trying to get out. And there were people all over the parking lot making their way into the trails. It was, I hadn't really seen, I mean, I know a lot of people come here, but that's the first time I ever really went out there on the weekends. And it's an incredible amount of humans coming in there and using, and that's just one trail. And it's even more crowded down at Breakneck. So I don't know how the state isn't more concerned with the damage being done to the park itself with all those people coming. They're leaving garbage everywhere. And who knows where they're using the bathroom and everything else. And, you know, it's an aspect that needs to be considered as well as just the impact.
Yeah.
That is being allowed to happen. And they're the ones that are always up in arms about that. You know, if you go up to the Adirondacks, certain alpine areas and stuff where people, you're not even supposed to get off the trail, and they have really strict rules up there. And the enforcement is, you know, no one's going to go to jail or anything, but they're all over it up there. And down here, it's just like they really don't care what happens. Anything goes. That's all I wanted to add.
That was one other issue I meant to bring up. Couple of my officers got caught some people going down to the highway garage and parking. I really need to get a gate that actually works down there, because we have too many things down there that can be messed with. We have our police cars, we have We have some other things that we keep down there. I really would gonna, because we've talked about this in the past numerous times, I really would like to push to get some type of working gate for employees only.
That's something I could ask you to look into there?
You want me to look into it?
Yeah.
All right.
No, I'm not. I got a full plate, so but somebody needs to look into it. You can ask Bugsy. It should be something we can access remotely, right? So we
Yes, correct. So Metro North can get in, the highway department can get in, my guys can get in, and to keep people out. That's the main thing. It's just getting worse and worse every year.
Yeah, I agree. To get back to what Steve was saying, I brought up the stewardship of the lands to Park a number of times and just said, what is your the goal or what's what are you trying to do with the parks? What's the state parks? What do you want happening to them? Because do you want them destroyed? Do you want thousands of people destroying the land itself? And it seems like, there, at one point, I think I was told that, Breakneck is mostly stone, and it sounded like that was just like a sacrificial area. So it can't really be destroyed. So let's just have as many people down there and have at it. I don't know. I wish you were in on conversations with them. In fact, maybe we should have them, come before the board or ask them if they invite them to a meeting, and everyone can ask them questions, and the same we've asked them, and everyone can hear them out. Also the Fjord Trail, that's, Fjord Trail is not responsible for the parks or the parking, and what they're trying to do is actually going to push people out along the river maybe, but people are going to bring cars and they're going to be parking all over to get to the Fjord Trail. So got to stay on top of that. People really got to be aware of what's going on with that. They're not eliminating much parking, if any. Okay. Said probably too much and repeated myself a billion times and said about a million times. So if I guess we can go to public comment if there's people there that would like to add to the conversation or bring anything else up.
Mike Turton. Mike Turton has his hand up.
Whoever's letting them in.
Go ahead, Mike.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Two quick questions. Dave, to clarify, did you say that OSI or Scenic Hudson has purchased Duchess Manor?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Wow. And then the other question is, how is the restroom thing working out at the tunnel?
The restrooms at the foot of Main?
Having the public restroom open. Has that been working pretty well, or?
According to Jack Goldstein and also his name, Nat Prentice, it seems to be working out well. I think there was a problem this week with graffiti maybe, which I think Bugsy must have went and covered up quickly. But besides that, I think it's worked out relatively well.
Okay, thank you.
They seem happy.
Good, thank you.
Anyone else?
Kathleen Foley is waiting.
All right, am I on?
Yep.
You're on.
Okay. All local municipalities are unsure now. We don't know if state funding will come through at levels expected or not, or federal funding. But I know that the county is going through its budgeting process right now. And today I was looking through the budget for the tourism office, and the budget is primarily staff salary and benefits. There is not program money going into the tourism office. And so, there's an advertising budget, and we are the recipients. People aren't, much as the county wants folks to be taking trips to Tilly Foster on the weekends, that's not what's happening. They're coming here. And I'm wondering if there is some way as part of this process, if our board, our trustees, as part of the public comment process in the county budget, say, look, you're actively promoting us. We need some help, even if it were I mean, you know, they always say that they're taking care of our garbage. Well, the garbage was overflowing. Our folks can't keep up with it on the weekends. So, okay, how about some more for at least garbage, something, anything? How about some more toward our police services on the weekend? So anyway, that budget, the public hearing for that is on the 26th, and they're taking written comment now. So that's of note. And then I had a thought that will probably make heads spin, but I just think about how, I guess it's something that the Rec Commission would have to think about too, is how much Mayor's Park, the actual park, is used on the weekends. It makes me sick to think about waterfront property being used for parking, but I wonder if opening that area on the busiest weekends as a possibility for parking on the green, and charging a hefty fee but is right at the trails. You know, I'm shocked. I live in the Upper Village, and the parking continues all the way up Main Street. So far, people don't seem to be parking on the residential streets in the Upper Village, and you know, it seems to be that they don't want to walk. Well, there you have a location right near the trails, and it could potentially be a source of income. And I know that you would need to have, you know, think about how the Dutchess County Fair works. You know, there's someone directing people to parking spaces and moving traffic through. It's not without its expenses, but the cadet support seems to be working well. The Sheriff's Department cadet support seems to be working well with parking on Main Street. Maybe that would be an option there too, at least through the busy time. And it would be income.
We have discussed that before. I'm not sure how far we've gotten with it. We haven't gotten anywhere.
It's
but-
just, it's a space that we have. And unlike, you know, it is a similar problem that Dave raised on Marathon. You do have residential streets that have to be accessed to get to the lot. And I know that the folks on Fair Street feel overburdened already by pedestrian traffic and vehicular traffic and truck delivery traffic. It's not a perfect solution, but it's a space that we have there that's underutilized most of the time. And if people are willing to pay $50 for a fine, you'd think they'd be willing to pay at least that to park for a day or half a day.
I think part of the issue with Mayor's Park is that if you have a rainy couple of days before the weekend, you can't park there.
Yeah.
It's a
It's
sloppy
too
mess.
stinking.
And I think, you know, that's one of the things we've discussed when we've discussed that. It will totally ruin it. So, you know, whether or not we can work around that, I don't know, but that was one of the items that we brought up when we did discuss that.
It seems like that area is something to be thought about in terms of its utility.
Well,
Or
I think
as
I
a
think-
surge space.
I think one of the problems that we haven't had to encounter this year is the use of Mayor's Park. In previous years, there have been events that have occurred there, birthday parties, graduation parties, the senior picnic.
Yeah.
But those haven't occurred this year.
True.
Hopefully, those could occur next year, but that's not to say that if you have something that planned there on a Sunday, if someone has rented the space on a Saturday for parking, I don't know how that would work out with metered parking in the parking area in front of Mayor's Park. It would eliminate 3 spaces or more. Yeah, where the gates are.
And the concept of metering, I mean, if we're going to have all these impacts of people in the village, we need to have some revenue that goes along with them beyond the nothing we're getting
Beyond
right
the nothing, yeah.
now. Beyond the nothing.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I think that the meters at Mayor's Park would certainly produce revenue. At least my observation of the parking there before the cones were put up. Certainly they are producing ticket revenue now that the cones are there.
It's always a flip side.
Yeah.
Steve, I took my Girl Scouts out on Saturday morning to Sugarloaf in Garrison, and we went up very early and we're alone. And on the way down, it was a constant stream. and came down and witnessed a fight in the in the parking area there too. So, but I found a New York Magazine. It was from June. I just missed it when it came through, and I was catching up on old issues. And it was a where to go when you can't go to Breakneck. And one of them was Sugarloaf, and clearly people read the article. So anyway, thanks for everything.
Thanks, Kathleen.
Right.
I don't see any other hands up, Dave. Dave, you're muted. You are muted.
Can't hear you, Dave. You need to yeah, there you
There
go.
we are. I don't know how that happened. Sorry.
You were talking too. We missed some stuff there.
I just think we should, we should find a way to tap into these publications and voice our opinions and get our message out the same way that they're promoting to, discourage or let people understand what we're going through. And I think that's what the state should do too. The state should figure out a way to limit the number of people. Expanding parking lots is great, but it's not the answer to the problem, really. I mean, if we open up more parking, those parking is going to be full, and then there's going to be the same amount of parking
Exactly.
all over. You're going to eliminate, add 20 here, and they're still going to fill the streets. And it's just going to get worse year after year, I think.
That's a really good point, Dave. Without the other half of the equation.
Well, there's nothing like a well-publicized lawsuit in the Times that will get people's attention.
Who we suing?
I'm saying let's join in with Phil
Yes.
and file a lawsuit against Parks for not managing the crowds here and the impact it's having. I'm fully behind it.
Right. Well, it's as far as promoting it. It's not that they're not even managing it. They're promoting the usage beyond that.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're aware of it and they're like, geez, there's really not much we can do about it. They're like, sure, come on up. We want more people. Get out, enjoy your state parks, So it's irresponsible at best.
So there's no more hands up? Is that what I've heard?
That's what I said.
One other thing we should follow up on that I forgot before during the our thing is Halloween and how we're going to address Halloween. I haven't completed a letter. I have one 99% done, but I didn't get into the paper quick enough. I think we just need to ask, and if anyone's listening or can follow up on this, just ask everyone to really kind of tone it down. I don't know how we stop. Again, it's like the area is publicized and people all know to come here and everyone promotes it. But, now we're in a position where, the residents and their kids can't even enjoy Halloween because thousands of people will be coming to one area. So I don't know if anyone else has thought of any other ways to kind of, discourage people. I don't think we can, I don't know what we can do. I'm at wit's end on that one, but I'll write something and try to discourage people and convince them that, just kind of tone it down, maybe network with your friends and families and have smaller, just bring your kids to places, or the rest of the village. I'm not sure, but really, I don't know what to expect for Parsonage and Parrot. I don't know what to say or how to stop that. And we're not going to have enough police to enforce anything. And there's no way I don't think we can put a curfew on and enforce that since we don't even have enough people to be in that area. So, does anyone else have any thoughts on that or how we get the word out?
Well, Kathleen had suggested referring to the CDC guidelines, and I'm assuming the guidelines recommended against doing aggressive Halloweening. Kathleen, was that the case?
Yes. Yeah, there were 3 tiers of activity in the CDC recommendations: low risk, medium risk, and high risk. And they did this for Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably pull it up. But yes, the standard door-to-door trick-or-treating was ranked as high risk.
But how do we get this out to not only our residents, but to all the surrounding areas that are all going to come here? I mean, I don't think they're going to know about, they're not going to see local publications, I don't think, or, or local papers. And so,
How about we write a press release to like the local Gannett papers? Low Cud and Poughkeepsie Journal
The Record, maybe.
and the Record. Yeah.
if they will take one, I mean, we could definitely try that. I know to advertise or put something in there that we have to pay for is
I know.
extremely expensive.
But yeah, press releases, if it includes something that's, if we can make it a bit newsworthy, they may cover it and just say, I don't know. I'll type something up tomorrow and send it around.
But what are we asking or saying? We're not just having it.
I think we're asking all residents to stay in your local communities, and also asking residents to, follow the CDC guidelines. Even though there are towns in New Jersey, Montclair has banned trick-or-treating altogether. They're not the only municipality who's doing that. So, and I'm not advocating for that. I'd like to think that our residents are going to take the smart road and protect themselves and their children. But we don't know what people in Westchester that like to come up here, and people, from Beacon and other places around that like to come to bring their kids to Parrott Street. I think the only way to reach them is through a news blast somehow. And maybe on the other local Facebook pages, we could just say, please don't come here.
I mean, basically just to say that, the Parrott Street is not going to be what you're used to getting, and most of the residents have decided not to decorate, or many of the residents have decided not to decorate. So if you're going to come, you're not going to see what you expect.
Yeah.
And
there was a.
And many of the residents are not going to open their homes to trick-or-treaters. That's the one.
There was a questionnaire on Facebook asking people, I think 3 or 4 options. What are your plans? Halloween's on Saturday. I mean, I have wrapped candy, which I was going to put at a table by my gate while I'm sitting there, and ask people if they want to take one piece at a time, take a piece, and then when those are gone, I'll put more out. They're not coming up to my door. There are a lot of little children in this neighborhood that, will come around, maybe in the early evening, hopefully after the tourists go home on Saturday. But other than that, there's nothing really crazy to be done, other than to say that Parrott Street and it's not going to be what you expect it to be. So don't come up this year. Save it till next year.
Just to chime in, I do have extra officers working that night just in case. I don't plan on closing off any streets unless it gets totally chaotic, and I don't want kids in the middle of the street. So I do have officers that will be assigned that night.
Larry, are you going to put sawhorses up on?
I'm not, because that's going to encourage them to gather and want to be in the street. I'm going to have officers on both corners with police cars. If it seems like it's getting overwhelmed, I will have them pull the police cars and block off. But I don't want to start blocking them off right away, because again, it'll give them just an excuse to hang out in the middle of the street. I don't want them doing that. I want them, if they do show up, to keep moving and go through and leave. The more they gather together in the middle of the street, if I close it off with horses, they're going to sit there, and that's going to be worse for contact, or of possibly getting sick if anybody does have it. But I will have officers there in case it does get a little bit chaotic. They will pull the police cars up and block it from vehicle traffic.
I think one thing we can do, and part of my letter was like suggestions on a number of things we can do, and one of them is like not to serve candy or whatever once it gets dark. Let the little kids come, and the kids that that we'd like to see around. I don't think we need Halloween for our high schoolers or adults this year. I think we can lose that for a year. We've lost way more important things, but if the younger kids come around, it's like at dusk or whatever, and I guess we can again encourage people to just shut their lights off and discontinue giving out candy at a certain point. And go from there.
Has the chamber come up with what they were gonna do? I mean, we've heard some suggestions. They haven't come up with
Haven't heard
anything.
anything.
Tara from Sweet Harvest has been advertising that she's going to be giving away candy packets. So,
I don't know. I don't know why people are encouraging her, but okay. I just wanted to bring that up. Mike,
Mike Turton has his hand up.
he's got his hat on too. He's in business.
This is my residence hat. I'm not speaking as a reporter. So I think in the past, I think News 12 Westchester has covered Cold Springs Halloween, Parrott Street Parsonage. I think that they would cover the fact that the village is not real keen on having people come this year, because to me, that would be a news item for them. They might want to send a reporter here and talk to folks on the street or village officials, but I think they would cover that as a news story, and it covers, well, pretty much all of Westchester and beyond.
Good.
Yeah, you know, is there a person to contact there? Do you know, Mike, or who? Do you know
I can
someone?
find out. I'll find out somebody for you.
Oh, if you could, that'd be great. We'll follow up on that.
Worst they can say is no.
yeah.
Okay, maybe also HUD, their radio stations. So, okay.
Kathleen would like to speak again.
Okay,
You only get 2 chances, Kathleen.
that's
You
right.
want to be done, but I just did something that will be helpful to you. I just emailed you all of the contacts for editors all across the county and in the region. I also sent you a News 12 contact and a bunch of regional Facebook pages that you could post to or ask to join and then post to.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else?
I don't see any other hands.
Okay. Well, how would the board like to do? We have about 20 minutes or so. Do we want to just, we're having another, are we meeting Thursday?
We are. Yes.
You want to just end tonight and pick us up on Thursday? Everyone
Works for
okay with
me.
that?
Yes.
Me.
Okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn then.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you,
Thank you
everybody.
all. Thanks.
Thank you, Zoom
Good
land.
night, all.